A lot of agency owners are making a very simple mistake when it comes to following up with prospects after they've had a qualification call or a discovery call. That mistake is that they're sending the same email to all of the different prospects they've spoken to, and they're just putting in as much information about their service as possible. Now, this is not going to help you close more deals, and in this video I'm going to share a very short workflow that you can implement into your agency to improve the likelihood that you'll close more deals. In this flowchart here, you'll see that we've got several different steps. So first thing that happens is that the discovery call or the qualification call is finished. Then you need to understand, is this prospect qualified? i.e., do you want to work with them? If the answer is no, that's totally fine. You should send them a follow-up and let them know. A lot of people don't feel comfortable telling people that they don't want to work with them. Of course, you've got to do it in the right way, in a polite way, but there's nothing worse than bringing on a customer who's not going to be happy or your team aren't going to be happy to work with. So you're actually doing them a favor if you do tell them that it's not the right fit. And you can also ask for a recommendation or a referral if they know anybody else that might be a better fit. I've managed to generate a number of deals off the back of this email that I sent to non-qualified prospects. So that's the simple part of the framework here of the flowchart. However, if they are qualified, you need to send a follow-up email which is specific to the service that they're interested in. Now, your services should align around the goals and objectives that your prospects have, and this is what you would have spoken about in that initial call with them. So you want to send that initial follow-up email, and in that email, you want to tailor the email based on the service that is right for them and from what you learned during the call. It should also include the language that they use during the call in the notes that you've made in that email. So it shows that you've listened to them and it proves to them that you are the right people to help them. And you must have clear next steps as well. That's another big mistake I see in the initial email. An email gets sent with all the information, but the prospect doesn't know what to do next. Ideally, you're also booking a meeting from that meeting. So at the end of the initial call that you're having with a prospect, you want to get some time scheduled in the calendar. The sooner the better, but obviously don't force that. If the prospect says that they're going on holiday for 2 weeks, obviously don't force them to put a calendar appointment in for the following week, but do it as soon as they get back. So that's the initial email, which highlights the service that you're able to help them with, and you're using that language, as I mentioned, cool. So then the rest of the follow-up sequence needs to be specific to the challenges and to the problems that your prospects are facing. And you don't want to send mixed messages either. If you're selling one service, service A, then all of your follow-ups need to be about service A. And a couple of tips for the additional follow-up emails is that the point of these is to remove uncertainty from the prospect, to remove that buyer's remorse that they may feel that after working with you, they might regret the decision. So include social proof from similar customers. I can't stress that enough. If you're working and you can work with enterprise types of clients and SMB, if you've just had a conversation with an SMB client, don't send them a case study from an enterprise company because it's going to make them think that you're not the right fit for them. Also, you want to share more details about that service. One of the things that you can share is the onboarding process that the client will go through once they decide to work with you. That's a big question that a lot of prospects have that they don't know the answer to, but they also don't think about asking that necessarily in that initial call. So always be preempting the different questions that you get and look back at all of the conversations that you've had with prospects from your follow-up process after your discovery calls and see which questions come up. Spot those patterns, and that can inform the additional emails that you send in the follow-up process. You can talk through the cost of inaction. So oftentimes a lot of people won't move forward with a deal simply because they are not ready to move forward. So you should really talk about through storytelling from existing customers how people have achieved the results they have achieved through your service because they moved forward and started working with you. Walk through the onboarding process, as I mentioned as well, and then also reiterate the next steps too. Another thing that you should be doing in your follow-up process is making sure that you're assigning tasks in your CRM so you don't forget to follow up with these prospects. I've tried to automate this in the past and I found that the automation was just too generic and I couldn't customize it based on all of the individual conversations that I was having. Having around 20 to 40 calls on a monthly basis, that's a lot of nuance that happens in those different conversations that you have. So the best way that I did this was to create several different templates or snippets, and then have tasks in my CRM to remind me to send an email to prospect 1 or send an email to prospect 3. And I could just take the template, take the snippet, and make sure that it was specifically tailored to that prospect. Are they going to move forward? Yes, so you proceed with the next step in your sales process, or that might even be the closed one. Send them the billing link or send them the invoice. And if no, mark it as closed loss. But let's not forget about these prospects on the closed loss basis, because if they said no, not the right time, or no, it's too expensive, you want to nurture that prospect and continue having conversations with them for when the time is right. So to quickly recap, do not send one generic email to all prospects that you've had a discovery call with. Make sure that you are talking in the prospect's language. You're sending specific follow-ups based on the services that are right for them, and back up your services and back up your claims with social proof that is relevant to your prospect. Good luck.